crafted by specialist consultants during the nomination process. It's a very well detailed and documented, detailed document. It is now more than 10 years old, and as a board we look at rethinking and reworking because things change in the world. So at the moment though, what we do is we have a vision, and this is generally the vision. Sometimes we change our minds and we have different visions in different years, but in general this is the vision according to the management plan: a sustainably managed region that is enjoyed and protected by all. And our mission that we developed in 2019 to promote community participation, to ensure the sustainability of the indigenous resources and heritage of the Magaliesburg biosphere. We have several other missions that are described in the management plan: to create awareness, appreciation, respect for the unique landscape, biodiversity, natural systems, ecosystems, cultural history of the Magaliesburg through important things, through research, through interpretation, through education, and through promotion. And we also introduce and maintain development and land use guidelines that will contribute towards conservation of the unique natural and cultural resources and ecosystems, and will facilitate sustainable development. As Andrew said, biospheres are not legislated, so we have to work within the law that is available to us. We also aim to contribute towards the knowledge of the Magaliesburg biosphere and its natural environment and cultural history through research and education. We like to harness opportunities for sustainable social and economic improvement for all, and I think that that's really important, and we spend a lot of our time doing that, writing proposals and looking for opportunities there, and then to work together with stakeholders to address shared challenges. And we spend an inordinate amount of time on that as well. So who do we do this for, and who are you guys, and who are we all? Well, who are we in the Magaliesburg biosphere? So in the management plan we have several interest groups, and these interest groups are the groups that our board represents, and what we have felt that we need to change and update them, you know, as time goes on. So they've sort of been categorized into functional categories. So we look at economic development, where we look at tourism, recreation, different forms of agriculture, mines, micro-business, circular economic activities such as recycling, green economy, being careful about usage of resources, trying to promote the conservation economy, alternative economies, away from mining, which is very, you know, it's male focused, and the demographic is really skewed. Then we look at environment and heritage conservation. These are, you know, quite self-explanatory. There's a lot of NPOs in this sector. We look, and there's a lot of interest groups in this sector. Natural resource conservation, ecosystem services, biodiversity, heritage, culture, which includes traditional healers. It would include drama, arts, all religious groupings, museums, that kind of thing. Arts as well, looking at dance and film and drama as ways of bringing knowledge and awareness of our biosphere together. Development planning and monitoring, that's really important. We participate quite a lot in that. We have to look at the stakeholders involved in sustainable development, those involved in municipal and regional planning, and then obviously specialist consultants like lawyers and marketers and communicators and town planners and all those specialists and scientists and specialists who can help us. Landowners and residents, that's all of us. That's really important. It's probably one of our most important sectors because we're looking at landowners forums, conservancies, farmers, residents, local communities, support groups for local communities, and the youth. So that's a really important sector where we're looking at individuals as well, and education and research. Education being schools, but not only, also adult educating, popularizing and making scientific research become more popular so that it's available to the ordinary person. Training and skills development, research institutions. There are many universities around us that we work with and we're very grateful for. And then obviously the new phenomenon, which is social citizen science, which is fantastic. And then of course our benefactors. At the end of the day, we have supporters, people who support the biosphere with their time, with expertise, with resources, sponsors who support financially, volunteers. Many people in this room volunteer their time to look after their own spaces and their landscapes, which is incredible. And then obviously patrons of the biosphere, like somebody like Vincent and who's sitting here, people that have over the years been inextricably linked with these mountains and this landscape, and who continue to support so brilliantly today. So that's who we do what we do for, and we've got this management plan which is extensive and large. It's a big document, and the board gets together every 4 years. We got together in January 2019 and again in January 2024, and what we do is we look at our business imperatives and our short-term objectives, and these are the ones that we're actually currently working on. And with the short-term objectives, we make fancy names for them because that gives us a little bit of fun in the day. And I've just listed here a couple of the objectives related to the business imperatives. So for BSEEN BSEEN stands for Biosphere, Communications, Education, Awareness, and Networking. So in BSEEN, what we want to do now is we want to improve our communications digitally. So that's one of our objectives for this year. Strategic structure and alignment, that's very internal. That's the NPC thing. We're looking at portfolio mapping. We're looking at stakeholder mapping, re-looking at stakeholder mapping, and we're looking at a review of our management plan. Zone integrity, this is really important. We call it zone integrity, positioning of legislation, policy, compliance, and enforcement. And this year, we're particularly looking to get the MPE regulations instated. Rally researchers. So we work with various communities. We endorse projects, and there are several collaborations at the moment. But we're also looking at just a wish list of research activity that we would like to be multidisciplinary. There's certain disciplines where we find there's a little bit of a lack of research, so maybe we can push that this year. Elevate education, we want to strengthen and diversify our education for sustainability program, which I'll talk to you in a minute. Recreation with a purpose. We used to have tourism for a purpose, and then COVID came. But we also lost our tourism director. She resigned after many years of being with us. So we've switched it up a little bit now to recreation. And we're looking at a theme-driven and nature-conscious awareness, having outdoor fun in the biosphere. So that is what we want to promote. Celebrate our heritage, of course, with MAG as one of our very key partners. We can't go wrong, but we really are looking at promoting African history and heritage and popularizing it so that people get to learn about it. And then the last thing is partnership centricity, collaborating with stakeholders to identify synergies and enhance long-term relationships and long-term initiatives. And then I'm just going to say, how do we do this? How do we reach those objectives and those milestones? Is we do it through projects and programs. Our programs are long-term. Usually it's funded by our operational funding. And then we have projects which are incidental, and they come up when we get a grant. So we have a BSEEN program. So this is a long-term program where it's about biosphere advocacy and awareness through print media and in-person engagements and through digital platforms. And we've done several things over the years, and you can see that we have some wonderful illustrator who's able to bring the treasures of the biosphere to the people. So what we did, here's a very interesting one. So we did some signage in collaboration and supporting Kathy Zerafos on her Sacred Waters research at TUT. We created this signage and awareness especially for water users in sacred spaces. And there's a project currently going on across the Magaliesberg. The Majacaning Rangers are involved, and these posters were put up in Majacaning because the water is used a lot by people in the community and people that come from Germiston and further afield, and they'll come to the sacred waters of Majacaning. The stewardship in the river is remarkable, and I think this signage does help because it brings an awareness to the issue, which in many other sacred sites is not there. And then also, we've assisted, because of this proliferation of hiking in the Magaliesberg, we're a little bit concerned about some of the natural resources, so we've assisted Valpro with some awareness signage about vultures on these hiking trails. So that's another thing, another aspect of Be Seen is we capacitated the youth in all biospheres. We have a MAB youth program, it's a MAB youth network across the world. In South Africa, it's quite a strong network, and last year we developed an awareness toolkit. So it's about biosphere communications and awareness, and it interprets the concepts of a biosphere and how the youth can be involved in a biosphere into the network. And what we found with these physical banners is it gives them a presence and an agency when they speak to audiences and their stakeholders. So this was a great project that was funded by UNESCO in Germany and their Biodiversity Foundation, actually. And then we have something called the Zone Integrity Program, which most of you may know me through. And this is where we, it's an ongoing thing. When we have capacity, we support protecting our zones and the integrity of them through participation in municipal, regional, and provincial planning and water forums, for example. We are a commenting authority on EIAs. We are often asked to comment on EIAs, not only by the community, but also by officials. We assist communities on reporting environmental transgressions. We appeal, sometimes we appeal environmental authorization decisions under the NEMA, and this program cannot be done by our office alone, and it's greatly supported by many volunteers and the biosphere community at large. Then we have, I'm sorry if I'm taking so long, is it fine?
It's fascinating.
Okay, then Be the Change, we have something called the Be the Change Education for Sustainability Program. It's a project and a program, it's an ongoing thing, but we also get funds injected into it through grants. And it started off in Majacaning, where we piloted. We developed 3 teaching aids for the intermediate grades, natural science. We call them natural science boosters. They're interactive hands-on activities that we do within the classroom for young learners so that they can learn about the biosphere and they can become ambassadors in the future, and they can be agents of change, behavioral change in the future. So the material that we developed is specific to the biosphere. Every animal that we talk about, every habitat that we talk about is local. We're not talking about polar bears and elephants. And we're bringing it, and really in this way I think we're bringing it home. We reached 600 learners in the first piloting of the project, which was supported by the Mountain Club of South Africa and EWT and ourselves. We were joint partners. And then in 2024, which I'm not supposed to talk about 2024 today, but we have just introduced a heritage lesson. In fact, a lot of what Vincent spoke about today is in our heritage lesson, which is a trail through the cradle of humankind, and it was delivered to grade 5 learners. And the assistants, the Be the Change assistants that helped with that are sitting at the back of the room here. The 3 ladies at the back of the room were amazing. in assisting with the heritage lesson in the cradle, and we're hoping that, it will be done in the classroom every year, and these ladies can assist. So this is just some pictures, of the thing. And then another aspect of this program is that we've worked with University of Johannesburg. They've developed a whole lot of lesson concepts, interactive activities, lesson concepts that we then refine into lessons. So they're banked and waiting to be developed. So that's a great collaboration we did. And we also, as I've mentioned, we employ local unemployed youth to be the change assistants. But we also want to take this program outside of the classroom. We want to take this. We want to start doing it more as a extramural program where we work with young children who are really interested in culture or in nature, and so that we can hone their skills and that we can really develop them as ambassadors of our world, of our of our environment in the future. And also, extracurricular outreach is also very key to this. We took the children from the Cradle of Humankind schools that we worked with this year to the Wonder Cave, and we took the teachers to the Kumari Museum. And I think that has made a huge difference because it's given them far more insight into, for example, how a fossil forms and why it forms, and how come it becomes rock after hundreds of thousands and millions of years. So it's a great program, and we're looking forward to expanding it and diversifying it. There, over here, who did all the geology signage for the trail. It's a fantastic trail. It employed 12 people from Majakaneng over the trail building period. 4 eco rangers own and run Majakaneng hiking trails, and they continue with exceptional land stewardship. To date, we estimate about 1,400 people have hiked this trail. In particular, obviously, local hikers, tourists, hiking clubs. There's so many hiking clubs, and many university students have done this trail. I think from 4 different universities now, and they most of them come every year. Through the business, they have their own little business their own little initiative called Hiking for Hope, where every year they raise, instead of getting paid for people to do the walk, they ask people to donate shoes, and they've been able to donate over 600 pairs of school shoes to underprivileged children. And then there are a few more projects and programs, but I'm going to stop here.